When you walk into a room, long before you say a word or make a gesture, people can feel your presence. There is an invisible current of energy that surrounds you, and that energy speaks louder than introductions ever could. Some people will lean toward it, drawn by curiosity and inspiration, while others might shrink back because it stirs something they are not ready to face. This unspoken communication is the essence of aura, the silent signal that your spirit sends out into the world. When your aura is powerful, presence alone becomes a language that everyone can understand. This presence is not built overnight. It is the result of battles you have fought, scars you carry, and lessons you've embraced along the way. Every challenge you have overcome adds to the depth of your aura, making it magnetic in ways that words cannot replicate. It is the resilience etched into your being that people feel, even if they cannot explain it. They may not know your story, but they know they are in the company of someone who has faced storms and kept walking. That silent recognition commands respect, whether others choose to show it or not. People often underestimate how much energy speaks before the tongue does. A person with a fragile aura may rely on loud words or exaggerated gestures to be seen, but someone with a strong aura doesn't need to perform. Their calm is powerful, their silence commanding, and their eye contact unwavering. This makes others sit up straighter, adjust their tone, or even rethink their approach before saying anything. Presence, in its rawest form, is a form of influence that doesn't have to demand. It simply is. There are moments when this silent power becomes overwhelming to those who encounter it. They may feel a sense of discomfort, not because you've done anything wrong, but because your aura mirrors their own limitations. Being in your presence might remind them of what they are avoiding in themselves: courage, discipline, or self-respect. Rather than leaning in to learn from the energy, they may pull away or even react negatively. This is why many with powerful auras are often misunderstood. Their presence awakens feelings in others that those people aren't ready to confront. But for those who are ready, the presence of a strong aura can feel like a safe space. They find comfort in your energy. They feel grounded by your calm, and they are motivated by your strength. Even without saying much, you inspire them to rise higher and to believe in their own capacity for growth. This is the gift of a powerful aura. It becomes a mirror of possibility for others. People begin to see that strength can exist without arrogance, and that calmness can be more commanding than chaos. To carry a powerful aura means to constantly be aware of the responsibility it brings. You may not intend to influence, yet your very presence can shift the energy of a room. Whether it calms tension or sparks discomfort, your aura is always doing work. Even when you are silent, the key is not to misuse this influence or wield it carelessly, but to stay grounded in humility. Presence without humility turns into intimidation, but presence with humility becomes inspiration. This balance is what separates authentic power from empty dominance. The world needs people with strong auras because they remind others of the power of being instead of constantly doing. They prove that presence is not about noise or recognition, but about the quality of energy you bring. In times of uncertainty or fear, a powerful aura can stabilize and uplift those who are struggling. It is not the loudest voice that gives courage, but the calm presence that stands firm when everyone else is trembling. When you realize your presence speaks louder than words, you stop wasting energy on proving yourself and start focusing on being yourself fully. True aura strength does not come from pretending to be untouchable, but from living with an honesty that others can feel. When your actions, words, and values align, your presence becomes something others cannot ignore. People are naturally drawn to those who are real because authenticity creates trust in a world filled with masks. A powerful aura is the result of refusing to hide behind perfection and instead choosing to live openly. This is the energy that inspires others without you even trying. Vulnerability is often mistaken as weakness, Yet it is the very foundation of a strong aura, the willingness to admit mistakes, to share fears, and to be seen as imperfect shows courage that few people have. When you let go of the fear of judgment, your energy expands because you no longer carry the weight of pretending. BTane Brown has shown that vulnerability is not about losing control, but about showing up as yourself without guarantees. That kind of courage is magnetic and gives your aura a natural power. Authenticity allows people to connect with you on a deeper level because they know what they see is real. Pretending to be someone you are not creates an unstable energy that others can sense immediately. But when you are genuine, people feel safe in your presence because there is no hidden agenda. They are more likely to trust you, respect you, and be influenced by your energy. This influence comes not from force, but from the simple power of living your truth. A strong aura is not about being loud, forceful, or always in control. It is about quiet confidence that does not need external validation to feel worthy. Mountains do not move for approval, yet they stand as symbols of strength simply by existing. In the same way, your aura is powerful when it reflects the calm stability of someone rooted in their values. This kind of grounded presence makes others rethink the way they carry themselves. Living authentically also means that when life challenges you, you respond with resilience instead of collapse. Failure, rejection, or loss may shake you, but it cannot strip you of your core identity. People observe how you handle difficulties and are moved by the strength they see in your quiet persistence. Even in silence, your aura communicates courage and faith. It shows others that real power is not about avoiding pain, but about remaining whole in the face of it. Alignment with your true self creates clarity that radiates outward, and this clarity is rare in a world of confusion. You no longer bend to every opinion, every trend, or every pressure that tries to shape you. Instead, your inner compass directs your path, and others sense this unshakable certainty. They may not understand it fully, but they admire it because it reflects a freedom they long for. This is how authenticity strengthens your aura in ways words cannot. The most striking part of living authentically is the effect it has on others who encounter your energy. Some may resist it because it reveals the masks they wear, and others may lean toward it because they crave the honesty it represents. Regardless of their reaction, your aura leaves a lasting mark because truth always does. Many times, you will inspire people without realizing it, simply by choosing to show up as yourself. The power of your aura is a reminder that authenticity is the most commanding presence of all. When your aura carries great strength, it often becomes a mirror that others struggle to face. People who have not yet cultivated their own self-worth can misinterpret the energy you give off. What you see as confidence may be seen as arrogance by someone who feels small in your presence. What you consider healthy boundaries may be judged as coldness or rejection by those who expect easy access to your time. And what you value as independence may be mistaken for distance by those who rely on validation. This misinterpretation happens because people filter your presence through the lens of their own insecurities. When someone lacks confidence, your certainty highlights what they do not yet have. When someone struggles with self-respect, your boundaries remind them of how often they compromise themselves. This is not about you being too much. It is about them not yet being ready to see their own gaps. A powerful aura exposes what others hide from themselves, and not everyone can accept that truth. Your energy is like a light, and light always reveals what has been in the shadows. Some people embrace that illumination because it helps them see clearly, but others recoil because the truth is uncomfortable. When they feel this discomfort, they project it back onto you in the form of labels or criticism. They say you are intimidating, unapproachable, or even selfish when in reality you are simply standing in your truth. The misunderstanding is their reflection, not your reality. It can feel isolating when others pull away or create distance because of the way they misinterpret your presence. You may wonder if you should shrink, soften, or disguise your aura just to make others comfortable. But doing so would only disconnect you from your authentic self. The strength of your aura is not a flaw, but a sign of your alignment with who you truly are. If people cannot see it for what it is, that is a reflection of their readiness, not your worth. This misinterpretation can also come from envy, because a powerful aura carries freedom that many long for but have not yet found. They may admire you silently while outwardly criticizing or doubting you. It is easier for some to call your strength arrogance than to admit they feel insecure in their own skin. Instead of learning from your example, they choose to distance themselves to protect their ego. But even in their rejection, your presence continues to challenge them. At times, these misinterpretations can even lead to tension in relationships, whether personal or professional. Friends may say you have changed simply because you no longer allow the same behaviors you once tolerated. Colleagues may feel threatened when your quiet confidence overshadows their need to prove themselves. Family members may see your independence as a threat to the roles they once played in your life. These are not signs that you are wrong, but that your aura demands people around you to grow as well. The key to navigating these misunderstandings is to remain rooted in compassion without shrinking your light. You cannot control how others perceive your energy, but you can choose to stay aligned with kindness and integrity. Your aura will always be too much for some, but it will also be exactly what others need to see. Those who are ready will not misinterpret your boundaries as rejection, but as lessons in self-respect. And those who are willing will see that your independence is not distance, but the truest form of self-love. When you carry a powerful aura, one of the greatest temptations is to shrink yourself so that others can feel more comfortable. You notice the sideways glances, the whispers, or the way people pull back, and part of you may feel guilty for being too much. Society often teaches us to play small, to hide our gifts, and to blend in so we don't disturb the fragile balance of acceptance. But shrinking your energy never serves you and never truly helps those around you. All it does is disconnect you from your truth. A strong aura is not something to apologize for, because it is not about ego or arrogance. It is about authenticity. Your presence reflects the work you have done, the pain you have endured, and the growth you have embraced. When you water yourself down to make others comfortable, you dishonor the journey that gave you strength. Your aura is the evidence, a thing you have overcome, and dimming it would mean denying the value of those experiences. You deserve to take up space fully without hesitation. People will sometimes accuse you of being intimidating, but intimidation is not something you create. It is something others feel when they encounter strength they don't yet understand. If you start shrinking, you teach others that their comfort matters more than your truth. You send a message that it's acceptable to abandon yourself to maintain peace. In reality, real peace comes when everyone is allowed to shine in their own way. Choosing to stand tall gives permission for others to do the same. When you refuse to shrink, you also set boundaries that protect your energy from being drained. A powerful aura naturally attracts attention, and with that attention comes demands, expectations, and sometimes manipulation. If you dim yourself to please everyone, you become a vessel for their needs rather than honoring your own. By staying unapologetically strong, you send a message that you will not be used or diminished. That clarity makes your presence even more commanding and respected. Standing tall also means embracing the discomfort that comes with being misunderstood. Not everyone will see your intentions clearly, and some will twist your strength into something negative. But your responsibility is not to manage their perception. It is to remain authentic. When you stop worrying about who accepts you and who doesn't, your aura expands because it is no longer chained to approval. Freedom comes when you allow your energy to simply exist without apology. The world does not benefit from people hiding their gifts. it benefits from people stepping fully into them. Every time you choose to show up unapologetically, you challenge the unspoken rules of playing small. You inspire others to question where they are holding back and why they are afraid of their own power. Even those who are unsettled by your presence may later reflect and realize they too deserve to stand tall. By shining without shame, you plant seeds of courage in the hearts of others. Choosing not to shrink is an act of love toward yourself and toward the world. It means valuing your growth enough to protect it and valuing humanity enough to show what authentic strength looks like. You become a living example of what it means to embrace light without fear. Your aura was never meant to be hidden. It was meant to illuminate spaces that are dark. The moment you decide to stop dimming yourself, you begin to walk as the fullest version of who you were always meant to be. Strength balanced with compassion is what transforms a powerful aura from being feared to being respected. When people feel your energy, they can sense whether it is rooted in ego or in kindness. A commanding presence without empathy can come across as threatening, but one rooted in love feels inspiring and safe. True power is never about crushing others, but about lifting them while remaining firm in your own truth. The strongest aura is one that can protect yet still offer comfort. A person who embodies this balance knows when to be firm and when to be gentle. They don't allow others to disrespect them, but they also don't seek to harm or belittle anyone in return. Their aura communicates that strength and kindness are not opposites but complementary forces. Compassion makes your presence approachable, while strength ensures you are not taken advantage of. This combination creates an energy that feels both safe and commanding at the same time. Compassion in your aura shows through the way people feel heard, seen, and valued in your presence. You may not agree with everyone, but you extend respect and patience even in disagreement. This allows people to feel safe around you, even when they know you won't tolerate disrespect. The balance lies in knowing that kindness does not mean weakness and strength does not mean cruelty. Your aura reflects this wisdom and sets a standard for others to follow. Strength without compassion creates fear, while compassion without strength creates vulnerability to exploitation. The balance of both ensures that your aura commands respect without instilling dread. People walk away from your presence not feeling diminished, but feeling more aligned with their own worth. They recognize that your energy is firm but fair, unshakable yet generous. This makes your aura memorable because it leaves an impression of both dignity and warmth. The energy you give out becomes a lesson for others on how to carry themselves. They learn that it's possible to hold boundaries without being harsh and to show kindness without losing authority. Your aura teaches by example, demonstrating that power does not have to be controlling to be effective. People begin to see that leadership is not about domination, but about presence rooted in compassion. This realization often inspires them to cultivate the same balance in their own lives. Compassion also deepens the reach of your aura because it allows people to connect to you on a soul level. Anyone can project strength, but few can combine it with genuine care for others. When people feel that you care while still standing firm, they remember you long after the interaction ends. This memory strengthens your influence in ways force never could. Compassion adds warmth to strength, making your aura one that heals as much as it commands. A powerful aura that blends strength with compassion becomes a guiding light in a world often confused by extremes. Some believe they must be hard to be respected, while others believe they must be endlessly soft to be loved. But when you embody both, you show that balance is where true power lies. Your aura is proof that kindness and authority can exist together without canceling each other out. This balance is what makes your presence transformative for everyone who experiences it. When others cannot handle the weight of your aura, their reaction often has little to do with you and everything to do with them. A strong presence acts like a mirror, reflecting back to people the insecurities they try to hide. If they lack confidence, your self-assurance exposes that absence within them. If they struggle with boundaries, your firmness highlights their inability to say no. What they reject in you is often the very thing they have not yet cultivated in themselves. This projection can feel unfair, especially when you are simply living authentically. People may accuse you of being arrogant, distant, or unapproachable, not realizing they are speaking from their own wounds. It is easier for them to label you negatively than to confront the discomfort of self-reflection. Instead of seeing your strength as inspiration, they interpret it as a threat to their fragile identity, but their rejection is not a verdict on your character. It is a reflection of their readiness. Rejection rooted in insecurity is one of the clearest signs that your aura is powerful. Weak energy rarely evokes strong reactions, but a strong aura stirs emotions because it touches hidden places. People may not consciously understand why they feel unsettled around you, but they sense the difference in energy. They sense your stability, your independence, and your clarity, and it magnifies what they lack. This is why they distance themselves, not because you are wrong, but because they feel unprepared. The important lesson is that their rejection is not your burden to carry. You are not responsible for making others comfortable at the expense of your truth. If they choose to misunderstand you, that is their journey, not your failure. Your aura is not meant to soothe everyone, but to stand as a beacon for those willing to see clearly. By staying rooted, you protect yourself from being diminished by their projections. At times, rejection can even be a form of protection, steering you away from environments that cannot handle your energy. A space that resists your presence is often a space that would have drained or limited you. Instead of grieving every disconnection, you can begin to view it as alignment. Your aura naturally filters out what is not in harmony with you. In this way, rejection becomes redirection toward people and spaces that truly value your authenticity. Understanding rejection as reflection also allows you to hold compassion without internalizing pain. Instead of feeling bitter toward those who withdraw, you can recognize that they are facing their own battles. Their discomfort is a signal of where they need to grow, and your presence simply brought it to the surface. This perspective keeps you from shrinking or doubting your worth. It helps you remain compassionate while refusing to compromise your light. Ultimately, the rejection of your aura is never the final word. It is part of the process of living authentically. The ones who cannot accept you today may later grow into people who understand your energy. But whether they evolve or not is not your responsibility. Your task is to keep radiating your light, knowing that rejection is often a reflection of unhealed insecurities. By embracing this truth, you free yourself to keep walking boldly in the fullness of your aura. When you choose to stand tall in your aura, unapologetic and unshaken, you create a ripple effect that extends far beyond what you see. People who encounter your presence feel a shift within themselves. Even if they don't say it out loud, your light becomes a reminder that they too have the capacity to shine. Instead of hiding in the shadows of fear, doubt, or insecurity, they begin to imagine what it would be like to walk in their truth. Your courage silently gives them permission to rise. This inspiration does not always come through speeches or direct advice. Often, it comes through simple observation. When people see you holding your ground despite criticism, they learn that strength is possible without cruelty. When they watch you maintain compassion while setting firm boundaries, they realize that kindness and power can coexist. Your aura becomes a living example of how to live authentically. Without demanding change from others, you invite them to step into their own greatness. The most powerful part of this influence is that it operates without force. You do not have to convince anyone to follow you or prove your worth to be respected. Instead, your very being demonstrates what aligned living looks like. This natural magnetism draws people who are ready to transform and challenges those who are resisting growth. By staying true to yourself, You create an environment where others feel safe enough to discover their own strength. Sometimes, the people you inspire may never admit that your presence sparks something inside them. They might quietly make changes in their lives, strengthening their confidence or reclaiming their boundaries after watching how you live. Inspiration is not always loud or visible. Sometimes it unfolds in silence. Even if they never thank you, your aura continues to influence the direction of their growth. The impact of your presence often extends far beyond what you can measure. By refusing to dim your light, you dismantle the unspoken rules that say people must play small to be accepted. You prove that authenticity can exist in a world that often rewards conformity. People see you as someone who refuses to compromise their truth, and it challenges them to rethink their own compromises. They begin to realize that fitting in is not the same as belonging. Your example shows them that belonging begins with embracing themselves fully. This kind of inspiration also carries responsibility because others are always watching how you navigate life's storms. If you crumble when criticized or abandon your values under pressure, people notice. But when you remain steady and authentic, even in difficulty, your aura becomes a source of hope. It tells others that true power is not about perfection, but about resilience. They begin to understand that their light does not need to be flawless to be powerful. In the end, your aura becomes more than just your personal energy. It becomes a spark that awakens others to their potential. Every time you choose to shine unapologetically, you give others a model of what is possible. Your light is not a threat to theirs. It is an invitation to ignite their own flame. By inspiring others to step into their power, your aura creates a chain reaction of courage and authenticity. This is how one powerful presence can transform not just individuals, but entire communities.